Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. You're tuning into End2End Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Tomlin, with my co-host, Christian Palacrusis.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Stephen.
No problem. Today we're going to be talking about the playoff picture and what we expect coming to the finals and who we think will be lifting.
Just for a little bit of clarity, we did have an episode, I think 2 episodes ago, where we had an episode called Playoff Picture.
Yeah.
Where we talked about what teams will be making it to the playoffs and like what teams are on the verge or whatever. Just to clarify, this episode is on the playoffs and who we believe is going to win the Stanley Cup, what our brackets, we're going to give you guys what our brackets look like. And now that it's set and matched, we're 2 nights into the playoffs.
Played one game so far, so
we're gonna give you our brackets and let you guys know what we think it's all gonna shape up to be. It's gonna be a good one, eh?
Oh, for sure.
You want to start or me? Should I start?
You can start.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's kick it off in the West. We got Calgary and Colorado. Okay, we got the first seed versus the wild card West 2. I got Calgary in this one. I mean, who could not take Calgary, honestly?
Colorado is a one-dimensional team. You know, they have one line. Other than Rantanen, Landeskog, and McKinnon, it's kind of like there's nothing on the back end.
There's so much depth with Calgary, and you can't not. It's almost one of those picks like. When we get to the East, there's a couple teams that I'm going to pick that will come back to this. They'll show you, like, how can you not choose said team, with the season that they have. But the playoffs are crazy. Anything can happen, and anything always normally happens. Like, there's upsets that will happen. We know they're going to happen. We know our brackets will probably be extremely different.
They'll be exploding.
Oh, yeah, exploding after the first round. But, hey, if we all expected the same thing to happen every time and it happened, it wouldn't be fun that way.
No.
So I got Calgary, but I got Calgary in 6.
I'm going to say in 5.
So you got Calgary in 5?
Yeah.
I think Colorado's going to put up a little bit of a fight.
Yeah.
Calgary did win last night 4-0.
They did, yeah.
Which kind of makes me worried that I chose them in 6 because if they just start blowing Colorado out of the water, winning them in 5 seems like a better bet in your decision.
Yeah, I think I have Colorado winning 1 at home at least, and that's it.
Okay, the thing
just
is,
because of home ice advantage.
Yeah, for sure. Home ice advantage is a big factor, but at the end of the day, Colorado in their home ice, they've got a loud building, and I feel like they can pull out a couple wins there. I honestly, it's going to be tough for Colorado to win this one, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to go out without a fight. But I definitely think they're not winning the series. I don't think.
No,
they're not good enough. They just squeaked in. But
yeah. So we have Calgary going up to the
quarterfinals
or conference semis.
Conference semis, yeah, whatever way you want to put it. I like saying quarterfinals. You like saying conference
semis.
Next up, we got San Jose and Vegas. This is a series.
Yeah, it's tough.
I hate San Jose.
It's tough because they're both right. One's on top of each other.
Yeah, those are the series that you got to look out for because it could go either way.
Yeah.
And honestly, I do believe that San Jose has the upper advantage a little bit, but Vegas is. I have Vegas winning it.
I'm actually gonna disagree here. I'm gonna say San Jose is gonna take it, because of the experience that they bring to the team. Vegas beat them out last year, which kind of has me worried. But I still think San Jose has more experience than Vegas does.
Well, if you look at San Jose's team, they're not a fast team. Okay, well, neither is Vegas. They're not fast.
Other than a couple players.
This is probably one of the slower matchups in the whole playoffs. Yeah. It's probably one of the slower matchups. You're not going to be seeing very many breakaways. A lot of chippy dump and chase plays, gritty goals, because these two teams don't have those styles like the Tampas, the Washingtons, the Torontos, the Calgarys. They're more of a slower team.
Yeah.
Right? So, but that works for a lot of teams. That definitely works for a lot of teams. I do think San Jose is the better team, but I have a feeling that Vegas is going to pull off because that building, when they're in Vegas, that's that's a hard place to win a game. It's hard enough to win a hockey game, but when you're doing it in a building or an away hockey game, what I meant. But when you're doing it in a building like Vegas, that place is. It's the T-Mobile Center, I believe it's called, right?
Yeah.
That place is hard to win. They've got loud fans. They've got these, I don't know, they've got these like presentations before the games. It just gets the whole crowd rallying up.
Hyped, yeah.
How do you not have them taking it? They don't have home ice advantage, which worries me a little bit because San Jose is definitely a more experienced team than Vegas. I mean, Vegas is outbeaten on that every single time because they're only 2 years in, but they've made the playoffs both times. So that just shuts everyone up about their chances of not doing well against this because, hey, we've already made the playoffs in our first year.
Yeah.
We're doing something right, you know what I mean? But I have Vegas in 7. This is going to be a hard-fought series.
Okay.
I feel like it, at least.
I also feel that way, but I think if you look at what each team has, like, they've both made huge acquisitions, like this San Jose last offseason adding Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, if he's healthy, though. If he stays ready to go,
yeah.
They should do well, but...
They add him. They added Nyquist. They extend Evander Kane, but Vegas also making moves. Brings in Mark Stone.
Yeah.
So, but they lost James Neal in the offseason, which was huge for them in that series.
Yep. And now he's on Calgary.
Now he's on Calgary, and Calgary's gonna be if Vegas and Calgary end up moving on, that'll be a
blood. That's what I think is gonna happen personally.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between what we hope happens and what we think happens. I mean, of course, I know you want Boston to go all the way to the finals, and then you don't really care who they play. I mean, I'm guessing you'd hope like Dallas makes it to the finals, so it's an easy like win. But like, it's very different from what we want to win. Listen, I want Toronto to win the cup.
Yeah,
there's no doubt, but I don't think they're going to win the cup.
Yeah.
We're going with what we believe is actually going to happen, like in real life. And I honestly believe that it's going to be a hard-fought series. San Jose and Vegas are both brutal teams in the corners. Ryan Reeves by himself is literally a train, and he will mentally and physically harm you.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt about it. He's going to be in your head. If you're a skilled player on San Jose, if you're a Joe Thornton, he's not going to get to you as much as you're what's the player's name? My God, I'm drawing a blank.
Evander Kane?
Like an Evander Kane. Well, not more like an Evander Kane. He can throw it back, but someone like
Nyquist?
Like a Nyquist or someone that's a little bit more quiet.
Yeah.
He's definitely gonna get under their skin, and that's his job. But they've got firepower like that both ways. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe it's gonna be in 7. But I ultimately believe that Vegas is gonna take it.
I'm gonna say San Jose in 6.
Okay, so San Jose in 6. All right.
Because I'm gonna say San Jose is gonna take both at home.
Okay.
And then Vegas is gonna take both in Vegas, and then San Jose is gonna win 2 straight. That's what I believe.
Okay.
Just because of how San Jose is so experienced and all that, and all the acquisitions that they made. Like, Mark Stone is big for Vegas, but it doesn't make them faster or anything like that. If anything, it makes them more, like, stronger. And I don't think, if you look at both, if you look at the defense against against San Jose's defense, and then Vegas's offense against San Jose's offense, I think the offenses match up, but San Jose has such a big gap with their defense. Like, their defense is unreal with Brett Burns
and it can't be matched.
Erik
Like, that's
Karlsson.
one of the best defensive cores in the league.
Oh, for sure.
I also do believe if they end up getting far, let's say San Jose makes it to the, let's say in your eyes, the semis of the conference semis. I'm just going to call it quarterfinals.
Yeah.
They end up beating Calgary, and then they end up facing off against Nashville, for example. Let's say Nashville makes it to the semis, right? Those two teams are two of the most, probably the strongest defensive cores in the leagues. Roman Yossi, PK Subban,
Tyus Ekholm,
Ellis.
Ryan Ellis, yeah.
Those are 4 players that most teams don't even have. They've got their one guy, maybe 2 guys. They don't have 4 core players like that.
No.
Any team would want even one of those players, and they've got all 4 of them. Same with San Jose.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a hard series, but
this is our first one that we part different ways.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Let's move on to the Nashville and Dallas here. I think we'll agree on this one.
Okay.
For sure.
I
think so.
I'm taking Nashville in 6.
I'm gonna say Nashville in 5.
You think they're gonna win the next 4?
Yeah.
Straight.
Yeah.
With the way Dallas played though on Wednesday, and they get a 2-day break now, and they're back in Dallas again. I feel like they're going to be rejuvenated. I think Dallas is going to win on Saturday. But then for the rest of the games, it's just going to be Nashville.
Yeah, I believe Nashville can do it. They've made it. They did well last year in the playoffs. But I believe that they'll find the weakness in Dallas, which
I mean, there is a weaknesses in Dallas.
which is everything except for their first line and then
have-
their defense.
They don't have depth in their forwards. Their defense is not great. They've got young defensemen that will be good in the future. And then their goaltending's not the greatest. I mean, they do have
Ben Bishop.
but like he did play well on Wednesday.
Yeah,
don't
he
get me wrong,
did. He
he
played
did.
amazing.
But I don't know. The thing is with these teams is the reason why teams win comes down to it. You can have the best offensive defensive core in the league. If your goalie's not there, mentally there, and obviously physically there to make the stops, you're not going to win a series because the goaltending is probably one of the most important things
Yeah.
for the playoffs.
Oh, 100%. If you look at, that's also what I think about the Vegas and San Jose series. When you look back, Fleury.
Jones and Fleury. Fleury could stand on his head, and then nothing's getting by him.
Oh, 100%. Fleury he's
Pecorine.
He has the potential to do that.
Yes,
Same
he
with
does.
Pecorine.
Pecorine, and then you have Bishop. The way on paper right now, if we were to choose, I would choose San Jose on paper. And then obviously with Nashville, I'd choose Nashville on paper as well, but I am also choosing Nashville. I just feel Dallas is not. They don't have enough firepower to withstand Nashville's attack for 7 straight games.
Yeah.
They're gonna crack eventually.
Yeah.
I believe.
And they're not at their highest potential yet.
not yet.
They still have like Miro Heiskanen.
He will be fantastic.
He played well that
Oh,
first
yeah.
game, and then but like he's also really young. He's the first. He's like one of the only.
They have no defense on Dallas, and then when
Yeah,
he came in,
yeah, I know.
they gave them life. Right?
Yeah.
But not enough life to be like, okay, now we've got our D. No. This is his first year in the league. Give him time. You can't expect him to hold the whole team.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah,
No.
he joined like a class with only 2 other players that was like first or defenseman, a teenage defenseman to score 2 goals in a game, and he's like one of the third ones to do it. So that's pretty big. That gives Dallas fans something to be happy about. But I still believe Nashville is going to be taking that one for
I feel
sure.
like how there's a couple series within the playoffs where it's just this underrated team wins maybe the first or second game, and everyone's surprised, like, oh my god, what's going on right now? And then the favorite team just comes back and wins 4 straight. Like, no, don't get ahead of yourself. We're still here. I feel like it's going to be that type of series. Nashville's going to come to terms with what's going on right now. They're down a game. Honestly, I do think they're going to lose again on Saturday, but I feel like that's going to be the wake-up game where they're like, okay, we're going back to Nashville. Nashville Game 2, Nashville Game 3 are going to be easy wins, I feel. And then they're going to win in Dallas for Game 5. And now Dallas is going to be looking at themselves, okay, it's 3-2. We just let them in back to 3 games. They're going to try their best to contain Nashville on their home ice, on Nashville's home ice, but ultimately Nashville's going to come back and win.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's too much. Once you get that Nashville team going, there's too much momentum to stop them. Dallas is not even a hockey city, so even if on home ice advantage, it's not as threatening as like a Toronto home ice advantage or a Winnipeg home ice advantage, even though St. Louis is doing well right now. But
The whiteout.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We'll get to the whiteout, but the whiteout was pretty stale on Wednesday night, eh?
Oh yeah.
We'll get to that. But
we both have Nashville moving on.
I'm taking Nashville in 6, yeah.
All right.
Are you
Yeah, I
taking
got
Nashville in 5?
Nashville in 5.
So you think they're going to win Saturday and then the rest of the games as well?
I think they'll just win straight.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. We'll see. Next up,
moving on, we got the whiteout, Winnipeg and St. Louis. Personally,
this was probably
one of the hardest
to choose from because there's literally nothing to separate them. They both finished with 99 points.
Yeah,
like
this one's probably one of the hardest choices.
They both finished with 99 points, and the only reason why we saw Winnipeg have home ice advantage on Wednesday is because St. Louis has less regular
season wins?
Regular season. No, sorry. Less. Sorry, they have less wins before the overtime starts. Regular. My God, what's the word? I'm losing it here for a sec.
Regulation wins.
Regulation time wins.
Okay.
Winnipeg had, I think. I'm not even sure, but they had one more win, regulation time win than St. Louis, and that's basically what separates them. There's literally nothing to separate them.
Yeah.
On paper, they're very similar.
Yeah.
Winnipeg, I think, has a little bit more firepower up front.
Yeah.
But that makes up for St. Louis has strong back end, which Winnipeg does as well. But
Yeah. I would say Winnipeg has to really find a way to beat Bennington.
yeah, he's doing rookie. I mean,
Rookie
goaltender of the
goaltender.
year for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
if he's not, then I don't know who would take that. I mean, like,
Probably Leonard or someone like that.
we'll see. But I mean, Bennington is giving the NHL no reason not to give this guy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
They've got every reason to give this guy to him,
For sure.
and he's proving it.
Yeah, I was thinking, coming into the series, I was thinking, St. Louis, they went on that. They were last in the Central, and they ended up, coming out, making it into the playoffs as a third seed, or third in the division. I thought they were going to be burnt out because of the huge run that they've been on, but
Yeah.
I was shocked for Game 1 when they came flying out of the gate and they ended up coming back and winning.
Listen, I don't think they're the same team that they used to be, where they would win 57 games throughout the regular season and then get swept in the first round. Like, that's basically been the story of the St. Louis Blues for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
This year, I think they finally turned the tide. Listen, the thing is with this whole episode is that we're very early into the playoffs, which is honestly a good thing, because we don't want to make an episode on the playoffs in 2 weeks from now when round 1 is coming to a close. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want that to happen. So that means it would be easier for us to make picks.
Yeah.
We want to make this now where it's the hardest. Like, it's hard for us, right? Like, I'm basically like deciding between Winnipeg and St. Louis right now, which there's nothing to separate them. That's hard. Like, it's so early on, and the goaltending is fantastic for both teams. Don't get me wrong, Hellebuck will be good in this series. I have all hope for Hellebuck. He will be fantastic in the series. Binnington with that amazing save on Scheifele at the end.
Oh, yeah, I saw
that. Game was going into overtime if Binnington was just normal Binnington, but he turned into like a superhero there. He's like, nope, I don't care that I'm a rookie, and you're Scheifele,
Yeah.
who has how many goals this season? He's got a lot of goals this season.
A ton.
Binnington's like, nope, not today.
No.
No right stopping that. He
Yeah.
had no right stopping that, and he did, and they get out of the whiteout with a win. But ultimately, I have St. Louis winning it, but in 7.
In 7?
Yeah. It's going to be a tough one.
Well, I think Winnipeg has definitely better offense than St. Louis, I would say.
Yeah, they do.
But I would say defensively, I would say St. Louis probably matches up like the same as Winnipeg. Then I also have Binnington and Hellebuck being they're the exact same.
Yeah, they also have similar playing styles as well.
Yeah.
But St. Louis, I feel like they're more of a playoff team at the moment right now, just because of all the times that they've had failure in the playoffs in the first round, whereas Winnipeg has been a bit more successful as of late. Mm-hmm. St. Louis is sick and tired of that first round entry. They're like, okay, enough of that. They fired their coach in October. They had a good long look in the mirror at themselves. They said, okay, we're not going to turn into this team that everyone thinks we're going to turn into. Mm-hmm. They turn on the Jets. They come back. They push Winnipeg for literally one game difference. And then they're facing off against each other, and St. Louis takes the first one out in Winnipeg's barn, and that puts Winnipeg in a situation now like, hey, we were not supposed to lose these 2 games at home. Like, if anything, we were supposed to beat these guys bad, and then it was going to be tougher in St. Louis.
Yeah.
A lot of series were like that, though, on Wednesday night and last night.
Yeah.
The favorites did not show
Come
up.
out and win, yeah.
I mean, they did come out, but the obviously the teams that were not the favorites came out even harder.
Yeah.
But I have St. Louis winning it in 7. I think St. Louis is going to win. They won Wednesday night. They're going to win Game 3 and 4. So it's going to be 2-2 in the series. They're going to lose on tonight, I believe. I think they're going to lose tonight.
You think St. Louis will take both at home?
I think they're going to take both at home. I think it's going to be Winnipeg. I think it's going to be Winnipeg tonight. So it'd be tied 1-1 in the series. Then St. Louis is going to win both at home. It's going to be 3-1 in the series. Then Winnipeg is going to win both of their games at home and away, and they're going to take it to Game 7. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, Winnipeg's going to have it at home, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like St. Louis is just St. Louis on paper is not a good team. Not a good team, not as good as Winnipeg.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're more of a playoff team at the moment right now. They've just got that passion, like in here, the heart for the win than Winnipeg. I think they're gonna pull it through.
I'm gonna disagree with you here. I'm gonna go Winnipeg in 7.
All right, Winnipeg in 7.
Winnipeg in 7.
Okay, that's a smart move. I'm kind of making a bold prediction here because St. Louis, don't get me wrong, great team, but it's also Winnipeg at home more than St. Louis at home. Do you know what I mean? Which is tough because going into if this goes to 7, which I believe it will, it's so hard. It's gonna be so hard to win in Winnipeg, let alone any person's home ice advantage. But Winnipeg with the whiteout, when all odds are against you, I don't know if they're gonna come out to shine as much as they did on Wednesday. I hope they do because I feel like what St. Louis deserves it more than Winnipeg. Winnipeg kind of put their wins on the back burner a bit in the latter half of the season. St. Louis turned up, but then there's also the factor of St. Louis burning out by games 6 and 7 because the amount of effort just to get here.
Yeah, exhaustion.
That's tough. You know what I mean? So yeah. I got St. Louis in 7, and you got Winnipeg in 7.
I got Winnipeg in 7.
All right, so let's just recap the West real quick. I got Calgary.
Both have Calgary. Yep.
But I have Calgary in 6.
I got them in 5. I think.
5. You said 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vegas, I have them in 7, and
I have San Jose in 6.
In 6. Okay. Nashville, I have in. I believe I said 6 again.
Mm-hmm. And I said Nashville in 5.
I haven't said a win in 5 yet. I don't believe.
No.
No. And then I have St. Louis in 7, and then you have Winnipeg in 7.
I have Winnipeg in 7. Yeah.
So we agreed on one, the Calgary one.
Yeah.
And then the rest we parted ways. That's okay. But let's stick with the West, and then we'll do all the West up until the finals, and then we'll do all the East, so we don't confuse them with.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay. So we're back to Calgary and. Oh, sorry, not back. No, sorry, mine. Here we go. So mine is Calgary and Vegas. Okay.
Yeah.
I got Calgary again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have Calgary again.
Yeah.
This is where
just a faster team.
This is where like
I would have Calgary against San Jose too. Here too.
You take Calgary over San Jose?
For sure.
Okay, so we'll talk about Calgary a bit. Calgary has such a great team where I feel like purely skill wise they can just beat them without even playing to the same effort as San Jose or Vegas.
Yeah,
I just
for
feel
sure.
Like this series will be won based if this happens based on speed.
Yeah.
And if Ryan Smith. Yeah,
Mike Smith.
Mike Smith. What am I saying? If Mike Smith stays strong, holy cow!
Yeah.
That team is going to be tough. Fast team with a good goalie that will stay. He's only got 19 games of playoff experience, but he's old and he's experienced and he's grizzled. So against Vegas, which Marc-Andre Fleur's got a lot of experience there too. Don't get me wrong.
Won the cup. Yep.
Right. Jones has nothing. Basically, he's got one series under his belt with the Oilers. Which were in playoff contention up until 2 weeks ago because the West is that bad with points. I just think Calgary is just too fast for those two West teams. There's always on the West, there's that San Jose or Anaheim, and there's San Jose or something. Now it's San Jose and Vegas. That's a slow kind of section of the West, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I feel Calgary can just burn them. I feel like if that happens, there's going to be a lot of open ice for Calgary to play with. And if they capitalize it, just keep their heads, they'll squeeze out that series. But I think as we get later on into this, now we're into the quarterfinals, I feel like as though Calgary's going to have a bit tougher of a time against Vegas because now we're getting further in. They're going to be a bit more fatigued. Vegas already has the style of playing as though they're fatigued, even though they aren't, because they're slower than Calgary. So I feel like Vegas will already be in their element. Calgary will win, I believe. Yeah. It's going to be in 7, though.
I'm going to say Calgary against San Jose for me.
Yep.
Just because of the speed and the factor that, they're trying to make a statement. Mm-hmm. I think Calgary will be beating San Jose in, I'll say 6.
6? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think they'll. I'll say 6. Just because of, I think Martin Jones will have a couple good games, but other than that, I think get it.
Just Mike Smith is just too strong right now. If he can listen again, we're only one game in, but we're basing it off what we've seen so far. Sorry, two nights in, but we're basing it off what we've seen so far, which obviously it always changes.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna change. Like this is not gonna be extremely accurate. I mean, we hope they're accurate, like our playoff brackets, but like obviously with game wins and stuff, it's not gonna be accurate. Like we know it's not gonna be accurate because if it was, then that's not fun. Like we know then that okay. We know Calgary's going to take out Colorado. How fun would that be to see Colorado give Calgary a run for their money? I mean, they did get killed last night 4-0, but it was only 4-0. It was only 0-0 up to the third period. It was 2-2 after the second intermission. Like it wasn't 4-0 for the whole game. Colorado did have a lot of chances, but again, with the same thing that goes on with the playoffs, goaltending is key, and Mike Smith did not let his team down last night, which I feel is a big factor moving forward.
Yeah. So moving on, I have Nashville against Winnipeg, a rematch, and you have Nashville against St. Louis.
I have Nashville against St. Louis. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, I think Winnipeg's faster than Nashville. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be a Canadian Conference Finals in the West. I'm gonna say Winnipeg has it in 6. That's bold, and that's what I'm gonna say, just because of the speed factor. Pecorino, he's kind of getting older and all that. So I don't see him holding up the speed of Line 8, Ehlers, Scheifele, Wheeler. Like I can't see that. So I'm gonna say Winnipeg in 6. What are you thinking?
Okay, so I got Nashville and St. Louis, right? And see, the thing is with when you choose a series winner with games, I don't feel as though it's kind of bold to choose like in 5, in 4. We haven't chosen an in 4 one, right?
Oh, I don't think there will.
I don't think there will be with how the NHL has evolved over the years. I don't think that there will be as many in 4s anymore unless there's the only one I can see in 4 is Washington and Carolina, because Washington knows how to rub out a team when they're down. I mean, they did that to Toronto, but we all thought they were going to do that to Toronto 2 years ago, but they ended up not doing that. But Washington is that team. They've got the firepower. We're moving over to the West just for a quick sec. Washington and Carolina. Sorry, the East. And we're not even going to analyze this one yet. I just want to say one thing about Washington because we're on the topic of that. Washington, I believe, is the only series where I believe they can sweep Carolina. I feel like they're the only series. I was thinking about that with Tampa Bay and Columbus until I saw Columbus come back and beat Tampa, which has solidified my thoughts on basically the NHL is so evenly matched now with how good everyone is now. There's no room for error anymore.
Yeah.
It could be Carolina and Colorado in the finals for all we know, which I don't think is going to happen, but you know what I mean. Yeah. But I have St. Louis and Nashville. I'm taking St. Louis. Unpopular opinion, okay, yes, but I have St. Louis, and I have St. Louis in 6. I haven't chosen an in 5 yet because I'm scared to, kind of, because I'm scared like it's too bold of a prediction, even though I just said St. Louis is going to beat Nashville in the quarters, which is bold enough as a prediction, but I just feel as if St. Louis wants redemption, and they need it bad. Because they have not made it to the quarterfinals in so long. Yeah. But then there's the other thing about, do they have enough experience to stay strong and consistent in the quarterfinals? I don't know if they do, because Nashville does. Yeah. They do.
All right.
They have experience.
So you have, excuse me. You have St. Louis and Calgary, and I have Calgary and Winnipeg. Yeah. Okay, so who's making the finals for you, at least?
So. Repeat that one more time. You said Calgary?
I have Calgary and Winnipeg. You have Calgary and St. Louis.
Okay, so for Calgary and St. Louis, I have Calgary winning it. I just don't.
How many?
In 7.
7?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, for my bracket...
You have Calgary and Winnipeg?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say... I'm going to go for an upset. I'm going Winnipeg in 6. I think the goalie situation in Calgary is going to fall apart.
Yeah? You think so, eh?
I think they'll do Mike Smith, and then when Mike Smith when Mike Smith gets burnt out, they'll bring in Dave Ritchie, and Dave Ritchie will be cold. That's what I think.
So that's honestly a good prediction. I just feel like Calgary is just here to win it all. But the thing is, my bracket is a little bit bold this year with choosing a couple upsets, like St. Louis beating Winnipeg, then St. Louis beating Nashville. Like the Nashville-St. Louis series, I feel St. Louis will beat Nashville because purely I just feel as though St. Louis wants it more. Nashville's seen this type of hockey before. St. Louis hasn't, which is also a reason to choose Nashville because St. Louis hasn't seen this type of hockey in a while. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have not seen this hockey in a long time, and honestly, they could just be inexperienced and make crucial mistakes that give Nashville an easy win. This could be done in 4 games for all we know.
Yeah.
If it makes it that far, you just don't know because St. Louis and Calgary. It's bold because I have St. Louis and Calgary in the semis in the conference finals. They're both teams that have not seen that hockey in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But if it goes through like that, if it ends up happening like that, that's a great bracket for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a go big or go home this year. Last year I played it kind of safe. I would have probably, if this was last year, I would have probably chosen. I would have probably chose San Jose to win. I probably would have chose Nashville to win, which I did, and I would have chose Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping it. But this year I feel like with how the NHL goes, how it's so evenly matched, and how anything can happen, I think this is the year to choose a couple upsets. So that's why I have St. Louis and Nashville. And then, I don't know, man. I have to choose Calgary over St. Louis. I just feel like Binnington is too inexperienced. He's fantastic, don't get me wrong. But if it's Binnington versus Mike Smith, I don't care about skill. Obviously, I feel Binnington is more of he has more dexterity in the tank.
Yeah.
Right? Don't get me wrong. Mike Smith is fantastic, but Mike Smith's are also 20 years older than Binnington. So he has the experience, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's got the duration, like, to make it that far. Like, physically. I feel like they're going to have to throw in Richie after a while.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure.
And I don't think he's going to provide very much after contrasting Mike Smith. If he makes it to he's going to have to obviously give them a lot of big wins, big saves, big stops to make it that far.
Yeah.
Richie won't be able to match that, I don't think.
No.
So there's arguments for both sides, honestly, but at the end of the day, Calgary, I feel, takes it if Mike Smith can hold up.
Okay.
So I got Calgary in the finals.
Okay.
Okay?
So you have Calgary in the finals, I have Winnipeg in the finals.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's switch over to the East
We got
right
the
now.
East. Let's start off with Tampa and Columbus.
I have a bold prediction.
Oh, no.
Columbus in 6.
You're lying.
Everyone
You're lying.
has been talking about Tampa Bay. Everyone has been talking about Tampa Bay for like the last 5 years being, they're going to win a cup. Every single postseason, they're always, they're going to win the cup. They're going to win the cup, and they haven't. So I feel a first round exit will just be the stunner to them, thinking we have to look somewhere else.
Okay.
That's what I feel. Columbus, the reason they ended up so poorly, like the Western or the wild card spot number 2, the reason they ended there is because they weren't that hot. They weren't up there when they got to the trade deadline. Then they made all those trades, and then they made it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think because of those trades, it's going to boost them up. That's what I feel. You saw that in the first game.
Yeah, I did. Honestly, I did not expect them to score 3 goals and come back in that game.
Yeah.
Honestly, when Tampa scored that first goal, the place went insane, and then they scored their second goal. Wait, yeah, and then they scored their second goal, and the place was buzzing, and you're like, okay, this is gonna be an easy series. That's what Don't tell me that no one thought that in the stands. Everyone thought that this was gonna be an easy win. We're gonna win again on Friday night. We'll have home ice advantage if it has to go that far, and we'll be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you drop 3 goals in the third period. The place is dead silent, just like with Winnipeg and St. Louis, just with more goals. And I just feel as though Columbus, it was great. It was a great night for Columbus after they scored those goals. It was a great night. Very shaky Bobrovsky in the first period, but he came to terms with it.
He locked it down.
Locked it down, and then Tampa lost. But I feel Tampa's just too good for Columbus. They're going to get a couple games under their belt. They're going to realize how they are, because teams have to feel each other out a little bit. You know what I mean? And because it doesn't matter how many times. Every single one of these teams has played each other a million times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, there's only so many teams. It's not like you change teams every year. These teams have all played each other before. Every single one of them. Not in the playoffs per se, but Tampa and Columbus are no doubt teams that will be able to feel each other out after a while. And then I just feel it's just going to be Tampa all the way through. Because Tampa will come to terms with how skilled they are. And they're just going to start... I feel they're just going to start battering Columbus down. They're just too good for Columbus, I feel.
Yeah.
So I feel I'm taking Tampa in 5.
Ooh, so you think they're just going to win?
I think Tampa's going to win tonight. I think they're going to win Sunday. They're going to win Wednesday. And then they're going to win Friday. I think they're going to win their next 4 straight. I just have a feeling. Finally, I have my first series that I have a team winning in 5.
Yeah.
The least I've had is 6.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be... I don't think in my whole bracket, I can say for both of us, I don't think we're choosing a 4. A sweep.
No.
I don't think I'm going to choose a sweep. But definitely, there's going to be a couple more 5s for sure, and you'll see that in a second.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the Boston-Toronto. This is literally this is me versus me versus you.
This is
because we're
you versus me.
I'm going to say Boston in 6.
That's
for
bold.
sure.
I'm saying Toronto in 7.
I think the first game. It looked bad for Boston. So
4-1, just in case anyone forgot.
It was so many turnovers. Like on their blue line, they gave up a lot of breakaways with that.
Defense was undisciplined.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So I'm gonna say they're gonna find out what happened and what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to. They're going to come back. They're going to have to win in the Garden. They have to win in the Garden. They have to win one at home.
Well, I mean, their only choice is to win at least one in the Garden. They have to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the thing is, don't get me wrong, I know Boston's going to be winning games in this series.
Yeah.
It just depends on how many they do win. I just don't think they're not going to win enough to beat Toronto now because like that first game is massive.
Yeah.
And with a series like this, Toronto now knows, okay, we can't take this for granted like we did last year. I think Toronto was up 3-1 in the series, and then Boston came back, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that pause, just to let me think about it a little bit more. But when we won in overtime, Bozak got the overtime goal in Game 4.
He got the overtime, or he got the game winner against Winnipeg too. That first.
Yes, he did. But when he got
he's awesome.
he's great. He's a great player. Honestly, that's a little shout out for him.
Yeah.
He little shout out there, but he's a great player. Anyways, when Bozak got that overtime game-winning goal in Game 4, 3-1 in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all of Toronto's buzzing. We're like, oh my god, Game 5, Game 6, Game 7. All we need is one win. Let's do it in Game 5 or at least in Game 6. Let's not leave it to Game 7. You know what I mean? Play smart. You don't have to play anxious. Boston's got to win 3 straight, and you got to win 1. We're all thinking it's great. Boston wins hard in Game 5, kills us, right? Game 6 was tight, but Boston ends up winning it, and now we're like, oh shit, we gotta go to Game 7 now, and then we just completely fall apart because look at us, Toronto, Boston. Your team is extremely experienced, and my team is very inexperienced.
Mm-hmm.
Skill set, I would say they're similar, but Toronto's a faster team.
Yeah.
100% a faster team. Like last night,
I would say
Chara took an undisciplined penalty on Nylander.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did see that, yeah.
Chara goes to keep the puck in play, it bounced over. Nylander 100% would have had a partial breakaway.
Yeah.
I think it was Torrey Kruger or McAvoy on the other side with Chara.
It was McAvoy, yeah.
Okay, McAvoy would have caught up to Nylander faster than Chara would have. Chara wouldn't even have been able to catch him. But it would have been up. But it would have. Sorry.
Only problem with Chara is his speed.
Yeah, but the thing is, Nylander 100% would have had a partial breakaway, and if he used his body cut in, he would have had a really good chance for a goal there. Do you know what I mean? Because he's a righty, so he would have used his ability to drive in, and he could have shelved it top shelf or whatever. It was a really good looking opportunity for the Leafs that was taken away by an indisciplined penalty by Chara. But what do you want him to do? He's too slow there, so he gives him a little bit of and honestly, I'm in defense for Chara with this one play. Honestly, I feel like it was probably a smart play because Chara is one of the oldest veterans on the team. He is the veteran on the team, and with being a veteran, you get a couple calls that go your way. and you get a little bit of leniency. Some calls that should be penalties are not called on you. Like Chara had his way in front of the net with the cross-checking all night long.
For sure.
He did not get called once. He probably didn't even get warned because he's a veteran like that. Mm-hmm. But that's where the refs got to draw a line with the interference. It was blatant. He tried to make it look a little bit innocent, like, oh, he puts his hands up afterwards. I didn't mean to interfere him. It was clearly an interference.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that the reffing is staying consistently, like, fair. You know what I mean? But honestly, I can't not choose Toronto. I'm going to choose Toronto, but I feel like it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be in 7. You have Boston in 6. Mm-hmm. So you only believe Toronto's going to win only one more game, and then Boston will win 4.
Yeah, I think they'll take. I think Boston will.
Do you think they got to win tomorrow?
They're going to win tomorrow.
Do they have any chance?
They have to.
I feel like Boston's going to win tomorrow too, though.
They're going to win tomorrow, and they're going to win
Monday?
1 in Toronto.
You think they're going to win the first one or the second? Monday or Wednesday game? The first game, the third game, or the fourth game?
Fourth game. I'm going to say they're going to win the fourth game.
They're going to win Wednesday.
It'll make the series 2-2, and then I think Boston will clean up.
So it'll go 1-0, and then 1-1, and then Boston will be 2-1 by end of Monday night, and then Wednesday it'll be 2-2 in the series, and then Boston will just finish the next two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I think, at least.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Washington, Carolina.
Okay.
Let's speed right through this because I don't think.
Honestly, these next two. I mean, for you, I believe these next two are easy, but there's one of them I'm going to put in here that's an upset.
Okay.
I've got Washington in 5.
Washington in 5, agreed.
Yeah?
Agreed.
Okay.
Sure.
I feel like Carolina's going to win their first game at home.
And that's it.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
Can we move along? Like, this one's, like, really not much to talk about. We got Ovechkin, we've got Backstrom, we've got the goaltending. But every single part of this team is better than Carolina.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, everything.
Yeah. And so next one we got. We can speed through some of these.
100%.
We got Islanders against Penguins. I'm gonna say.
I got the Islanders.
Islanders in 7.
I got the Islanders in 7 as well.
7.
Just I thought you were gonna choose Pittsburgh.
No, I think Islanders they're making a statement. They don't need Johnny T. That's what I feel.
Okay.
That's what the team's like.
I wish that Toronto and the Islanders were in the same division.
Oh, that would be fun to watch.
Oh my God.
That's what I said. I told my my dad. And I said, what if the Islanders end up going to the conference finals and end up playing Toronto? Think about that.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
But what if it does? The playoffs
that would be brutal.
That would be an awesome series to watch.
People would get fined.
Oh, a lot of them, yeah.
Oh my God.
So moving on, in my bracket, I got Columbus and Boston. You have
I got Tampa and Toronto.
Two different options. I have Boston in 5. They just have Columbus's number for me. I know they do. I think the season series is 3-1. Boston, every time I've watched them play Columbus, they're always winning by a lot. They already know Bobrovsky's weakness, and I think they have it all figured out against them. What do you have for Tampa and Toronto?
So you have Boston beating Columbus in 5.
Mm-hmm.
I have Tampa beating Toronto in 5.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this why.
I agree with that.
Tampa beat Toronto so many times this year by a large number of goals, and if you translate that to wins, I feel like Tampa will just take it to Toronto. I just feel like that's their end of the road. They got their good win against Boston. That's what I feel is going to happen. They got their first round, finally the revenge on Boston. You move into the second round, you're like, okay, now we're playing the big bad. I mean, we just played the big bad Bruins, but now we're playing the big bad Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
Like, this team is, if they keep their heads, they will be tough to beat.
Yeah.
Like, all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have Tampa beating Toronto. I feel like Tampa will win their first 2 at home. Toronto will then lose their first one at home. It'll be 3-0 in the series. Everyone's doubting them. It's done, right? And then they end up winning their second game at home, Game 4. There's a little bit of life left. Toronto gets a little bit of spark, right? You go into Game 5, and then Tampa just wins in home ice. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they win their first 3, 2 at home, and then 1 in Toronto. Everyone's doubting them now. Toronto wins in Game 4. Then we go back to Tampa. This is where we can turn the series around, and then Tampa just finishes it off there. Mm-hmm. So I have Tampa in 5 against Toronto there.
All right, so let's move on. We have both got Washington and Islanders.
Washington and Islanders?
I truly think...
I got the Washington Capitals.
I think the Capitals will fall apart and they will turn into the second round exit team like they were.
Really? I thought that boat passed already.
No, I think they will, and I think they'll turn into They'll fall apart, and I say Islanders in 6.
Wow, I got Washington in 6.
Okay.
Washington in 6 because I just feel like Washington is just on paper they're a better team.
Yeah.
And I feel like they have more experience. They've had a lot of experience with these second round losses. If they can avoid Pittsburgh in the second round, let's put a hypothetical segment in for a quick second here. If Pittsburgh ends up playing Washington, I feel like Pittsburgh's going to find a way to beat Washington again.
That's what the hockey gods want, though. They want Penguins against Washington.
Penguins and Washington. Penguins ultimately win. Last year that didn't happen. Obviously, Washington wins the cup. But I feel like if Washington can beat Carolina and get out of there with playing the New York Islanders instead of the Pittsburgh Penguins, I feel like they'd want that.
Yeah.
Even though New York, technically right now, is not as good as Pittsburgh, playing-wise, like not on paper, but playing-wise, New York's a better team than Pittsburgh. They're just playing way better.
Yeah.
So, obviously, any team would want to play Pittsburgh in that sense, right? Because they're not playing as well, right? On paper, who cares about paper? If the team's not playing well, then you'd want to play that team because they're easier to beat, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like Washington would rather play the team that's playing better than to play Pittsburgh because they just have their number. Pittsburgh just has their number. Those teams that you just play they're not as good as you, they'll still have your number.
Yeah, for sure.
Like with us, we've played the last place team, East York, about 6 times.
Yeah.
And we lost them like 4 times out of 6.
And they're not a good team.
They're not a good team, but
they
still, they just have our number. And that's the way I think if Washington can get by playing New York, I feel like they'll beat New York in 6. It'll be 6 is a safe number with those games where you don't know what's gonna happen exactly because it can go either way. So that's why I'm gonna say 6.
Okay, so in my bracket, we got Boston and the Islanders in the.
Wait, did you say who you got for the Islanders in Washington? You got the Islanders in 6?
Yeah.
Islanders in 6. I have the Capitals in 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have Boston and I have the Islanders in the conference finals.
Okay.
And you have Tampa and Washington, right?
And I have Tampa and Washington.
A rematch.
Ooh, yes.
Okay, so for me, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna sound biased, but I'm gonna say Boston is gonna beat the Islanders, and I think the inexperience of the Islanders is gonna start showing in the conference finals, and Boston's gonna win it in, I'll say 6.
6, eh? Okay.
What do you think, Tampa or Caps?
So you got Boston beating the Islanders in 6.
Yep.
Okay. I got Tampa and the Capitals. I just feel like Tampa's just too good, man. This is just a thing where, I feel like if Tampa's just stays with it, because this could be a complete upset and, a disgrace to Tampa. For how many points did they get? 120-something?
126.
That's insane. If they don't make it to the conference finals, it's a disappointment right away.
If they don't even make it to the finals,
it's a disappointment, basically. So if they don't, I feel like they have to make it that far. They have to force themselves. That's what I was thinking. It was tough to explain to my dad the other day, but if they are in the conference finals and they're playing Washington, it's almost like there's no choice. It's like the night before a test. And you got to do well on this test and you haven't started studying. There's no choice. You got to start studying. You can't just wing it and be like, oh, whatever, I'll just see how I do. You need to do well. Do you know what I mean? Tampa needs to do well this playoffs. So there's a bit of healthy pressure on them.
Urgency.
Yeah, a little bit of urgency on them and healthy pressure to win this thing. So I feel like they'll just outmatch the Washington Capitals. The Capitals already had their win. I just feel like as though Tampa is going to beat Washington, but it's going to go to 7.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would be a fun series to watch,
I feel like
sure.
It's going to go right down to the brim. Tampa's going to be... I feel like Tampa's going to win, the first 2. This is how I think it's going to go. Tampa's going to win the first 2. Then they're going to win in Washington for Game 3. So it's going to be 3-0 in the series. This one's going to be over, right? Then Washington wins 3 straight to come back. And now Tampa's, scared, right? Mm-hmm. You let them back in. Ultimate pressure is on Tampa now. Yeah. And it goes to, overtime of Game 7. I'm kidding.
Oh, geez.
And Tampa, and, Kucherov gets a breakaway or something, and he finally finishes it off. And they're all leaving D.C. doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they finally go to ultimately play Calgary in the finals, which we'll talk about the finals. But I got Tampa.
All right, so our West ends up the same, kind of.
Calgary?
With Calgary in the finals.
Okay.
But our East is different with
you have
Boston.
And so you have Boston, Calgary, I have Tampa and Calgary.
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit of bias on your side. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah,
Boston's an extremely good team to choose. They're always safe to choose because they're they're experienced.
Yeah.
They're in it every year. So
This is who I want to win. That's
obviously
who I want
you
to win.
Boston to win, of course.
So obviously, I'm gonna say that they.
Yeah, and I feel like you have a more of a reason for them to go for your team, Boston, to go further than me for Toronto, because Toronto's not experienced enough. I feel like this year they finally cracked that second round spot, and then after that it'll go to third, and then it doesn't just go from starting out not making the playoffs to finals like Vegas did.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? That's not how it really does, but like Vegas obviously broke that last year.
Well, Calgary apparently might do it this year because they're always a first round exit now.
Yep. But this year I feel like they're just too good.
Yeah. So for me, Boston against Calgary.
Mm.
I truly think, and you can't call me biased on this because I'm going against them.
Okay.
I'm saying a Canadian team is going to win the cup. I'm going to say Calgary is going to win it just because of the speed and intensity that Calgary is playing with. I think they'll, with Johnny Gaudreau will just play out of his mind with the fights Kachuk and Marchand would get into.
Oh my god.
That would be so much. That would be such a fun series.
Such a fun series to watch.
So I'm gonna overall, I'll say Calgary in 7 to make it interesting.
7. Okay. See, I want
What
to
do you
say
think?
I want to say Calgary really badly, right? And I want to say it in like 7.
Mm-hmm.
Make it interesting, of course, because you never want the Stanley Cup Finals to end in like 5.
Yeah,
That's so boring. That's so
fun.
Yeah, because if it ends in 5, then you know who the better team is.
Yeah.
You want it to be interesting. You want to not know who it is, right? So I want to choose Calgary, but at the same time I don't want to choose Calgary, and I want to choose Tampa, because I feel like Tampa deserves it more because of how they played this season.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's also kind of like the mainstream pick is Tampa. That's why I want to choose Calgary at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna choose Calgary and agree with you.
7.
I'm saying it's 7 against Tampa. It's going to be hard fought, but I feel like as though but then I want to go back on my word. Like I'm pretty sure Steve Dangle did the same thing on his video where he chose his playoff bracket. He was like, I want to choose. I think he did the Dallas Nashville. He's like, I want to choose Dallas. No, I want to choose Nashville. No. I'm gonna go back for a sec. I don't know now. I don't know if I want to choose Calgary because I just thought of, as I was saying, I'm gonna agree with you. I just thought of Mike Smith.
Yeah.
And how
I was going to say Mike Smith is going to have to. He's going to have to put
a couple Red Bulls in between naps and stuff, because if he can't, I just feel like he's too old. Oh my god, this is weird. I don't know what to do. Okay. It's basically a coin flip at this position because I don't know.
Are you going to be like everyone else in the world and pick the Lightning?
Oh my god, man.
There was a percentage.
Yeah.
And 48% of brackets finished with Tampa lifting the cup.
Really?
Out of every team.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't like to be mainstream like that. I don't like that. I'm going to choose Calgary. I'm going to stick with what my gut told me from the beginning.
So we both have a Canadian team winning.
Calgary, yes.
I'm excited. I want to see that.
I want Calgary to win the cup. Out of all the teams, the 3 Canadian teams, I want Calgary winning it.
That would be awesome.
I think they got the best bet to do it.
For sure.
But then the thing is, like, easily with Winnipeg and St. Louis, that could be a series that just skyrockets one of those teams to the finals.
Yeah.
Like, St. Louis could easily win that series. Not easily, but they could win that series, and then that could easily give them confidence to win all the way up into the finals. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of brackets with St. Louis in the finals, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen that. St. Louis against Tampa.
Yeah, I got St. Louis losing to Calgary in the Western Conference. I feel like that's the farthest they're going to go. Mm-hmm. But,
yeah. I mean, we both have pretty, I would say...
Hold on.
Decent
Can I?
Oh, you want to go back?
Can we go back for a second?
Oh, geez.
I'm just thinking about something. Can we go back to St. Louis and Calgary for a quick sec? I know this isn't effective. I'm taking St. Louis in the finals against Tampa.
And you're
I'm taking St. Louis win the whole thing.
Wow.
I just switched it up. I know. I'm sorry, but I have St. Louis winning in the finals, not Calgary anymore.
In 7?
Oh, in 7, it's going to be a bloodbath. They're not winning. They're not beating Tampa. If Tampa makes it, or whatever team, they're not beating them in like 6 or 5. It's going to be long and hard. But I have I have St. Louis winning it. So basically, my bracket didn't change other than the fact that now St. Louis and Calgary played each other. But I have St. Louis winning in 7 rather than Calgary winning in 7.
Yeah.
And then Tampa, the East stays the exact same. The only thing that changed is just the semifinals for me. St. Louis is. I'm gonna have to give St. Louis the winning the Stanley Cup this year. Final on, because I feel by the Western Conference Finals, Mike Smith will be burned out.
Think so?
There you go. Yep.
Bennington will
that
be.
was in the back of my mind the whole time. But then the thing is, yeah, Bennington is inexperienced, but I feel like he could take it. How amazing would that be if Bennington takes it?
Rookie goalie probably would win the
100%.
the Conn Night.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, so I would say we both have reasonable brackets. I wouldn't say they were
Out of
totally,
this world.
yeah.
Like we didn't choose Carolina going to the finals.
No.
Like, get out of here. It's not like Dallas and Carolina and then Carolina wins it in like 4. Like,
Yeah.
we're not crazy for this, but like I do feel like they're a bit bold enough to make it interesting.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I got St. Louis winning it.
Yeah.
This year.
So since now we're done, we might as well wrap it up.
I feel like let us know. Send us pictures on our DM at End2End Podcast. What your
End2End.podcast.
End2End.podcast. What your bracket looks like, and we'll make sure to look at them. Maybe we'll address a couple of them in the next episode. See how most of our viewers feel their brackets are going to shape up and what they think is going to happen. But
let us know in the comments also what you think we should have picked. If you think me picking Columbus over Tampa was a very smart move, just let me know in the comments.
I don't think so, but yeah.
I like picking the bold teams.
Yeah, for sure. That's why last minute, I'm telling you, I literally chose Calgary for the finals, and then I was thinking in the back of my head, wait, Mike Smith, he's too old. Like, hold on, I gotta go back for a sec. I need to choose St. Louis, and St. Louis, I have St. Louis winning it this year.
Yeah.
You're my winner, St. Louis, please.
So yeah, make sure you guys like and comment. Also subscribe. We're trying to grow as quickly and
For sure,
as fast as possible.
If you guys have any recommendations of any changes you'd like to see or any episode topics, make sure to DM us or comment them down below.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. We hope you guys have a great weekend and enjoy the playoffs. It's going to be a packed weekend full of amazing games. And we'll definitely post a couple pictures on Instagram around Sunday night, maybe Monday morning, recapping a couple of the games, the important ones that happened. And we'll see you guys next Friday.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one. Good Friday. Next, we'll be off again from school, so we'll give you guys an earlier upload this time rather than a 6 p.m. upload.
Yeah.
But it'll be a good one. We'll see you guys in a week's time. It was a great episode.
Yeah, for sure. Make sure you guys, we're going to be putting a little ask question on our story of our Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Give us some suggestions for videos coming up, because when the off season comes up,
It's going to be a little bit harder, you know what I mean?
You run out of ideas,
For sure.
I'm totally for sure looking forward to free agency and the draft.
Yeah,
I love the draft.
Yeah,
That's
you really wanted to do the topic of the draft this episode.
But it didn't really fit.
I feel like it fit more for us to do the playoffs this
Yeah.
week rather than a week's time, because some series could be done by our next episode.
For sure, yeah.
Seriously, I mean, anything could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina was swept. I'm not gonna lie. By Wednesday, Thursday, it's wrapped up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, guys.
Hope you guys have a great one.
You guys were listening into End2End Podcast. Stephen Tomlin signing off.
Christian Palacrusis signing off. Have a good one, guys.
All right, take it easy.